Hurstville is a suburb in southern Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. It is 16 kilometres south of the Sydney Central Business District and is part of the St George area. Hurstville is the administrative centre of the local government area of the Georges River Council. Hurstville has become a central business district for the southern suburbs of Sydney. It is a large multi-ethnic suburb with a multitude of commercial buildings and high-rise residential buildings dominating the skyline. Hurstville's residential developments are a mixture of low-density housing, medium-density flats, and high-density apartment buildings. As a commercial centre, it features branches of many retail shops as well as numerous banks and other financial institutions. History. The name Hurstville is derived from the English hurst meaning a wooded eminence, and ville town. Aboriginal culture. Although it is unknown when they first settled in the Hurstville area, the first inhabitants were Australian Aborigines. At the time of the arrival of the First Fleet, the Aborigines residing in the area were of the Eora tribe, whose numbers spanned along the Georges River, from Botany Bay to present-day Liverpool. European settlement. The first sustained contact, on the 20th of January 1788, between members of the First Fleet and the Eora, occurred within the boundaries of the present city of Hurstville at Lugano and Otley, at Limekiln Bay on the Georges River, as recorded by Lieutenant Philip Gidley King in his diary. While Governor Phillip explored the south side of the Georges River around Como, King with a party of one other officer and 3 Marines in a 6-oared rowboat aimed for the highest point they could see on the north side, probably at Lugano, and landed at a place they named Lance Point. Although first contact with the Aborigines led to a small altercation where a spear was thrown and a shot fired. Later in the day, when the party rowed up Limekiln Bay towards present-day Mortdale, they were greeted in a friendly manner by both men and women, and what could only be described as Australia's first picnic took place as food and drink were shared between the two peoples. After a long summer afternoon of mutual contact and conviviality, the British sailors rowed back to the ship moored at Botany Bay. The land of the Hurstville region was granted by the government of the new colony of New South Wales to 2 men, Captain John Townsend and his brother Robert Townsend, in 1808. Captain John Townsend was granted 1,950 acres of land, which is now occupied by the suburb of Hurstville and part of Bexley. Robert Townsend was granted the land which is now occupied by Penshurst, Mortdale and parts of Peakhurst. In the same year, in the area now known as Riverwood, land grants were made to Jane Trotter, Mary Shapley, Charles Doodle, and James Ryan. Later in 1816, another land grant in the same area was given to Mary Redman. In 1809, Captain John Townsend was granted an additional 250 acres in the area now occupied by Kingsgrove and Beverly Hills. The Townsend brothers were not happy with the land that they were given because it was not suitable for the farming of sheep for wool, and it is likely that the brothers never occupied the land. In 1812, a wealthy merchant named Simeon Lord bought the land of Captain John Townsend and named it Lord's Forest. When Lord died, the land became the property of John Rose Holden and James Holt of the Bank of N.S.W. Sproul family. Gladwin is an historic Italianate house at 96 Queens Road. It was built in 1893 by John Sproul, a local builder and alderman of Hurstville Council, who had acquired the land 2 years previously. It changed hands many times and was known as Gladwin by 1906. Hurstville Council eventually acquired the house in 1986. It has been restored and adapted for commercial use, as well as serving as the base for the Hurstville Archival Research and Local Studies Centre. It is heritage listed at state and local level. In 1895, Anne Sproul bought land on the opposite side of Queen's Road from the Wynne brothers of Newcastle, New South Wales. John Sproul then built Yarramindi in 1897 and lived there until 1904. The house then changed hands a number of times over the years. In 1981 it was acquired by the Danebank Church of England School for Girls. The school later sold the house in 2003 and it was subsequently adapted for commercial use. It is heritage listed. Development. A dam with a roadway on top was constructed on the Cooks River at Tempe in 1839. In 1843, the road that was to become known as Forest Road was extended from the dam to a hand-winched punt in Lugano. On the other side of the river, the road continued all the way to Wollongong. However, it was only suitable for travelers on horseback. The new road opened up the Hurstville region and created a settlement at Bottle Forest, now known as Heathcote. In 1850, the Lord Forest estate was purchased by Michael Gannon, who subdivided it into small farms along what is now Croydon Road and 3 larger farms that were purchased by Dent, Peak, and Ibbotson. The area became known as Gannon's Forest. The land originally granted to Robert Townsend was purchased by John Connell in 1830 and, following his death in 1849, the estate was inherited by his grandsons, Elias Pearson Laycock and John Connell Laycock. The Gannon's Forest Post Office opened in 1881. The local school was named Hurstville by School Inspector McIntyre when it was established in 1876. When the railway station opened on 15 October 1884, it took the name Hurstville from the school. Hurstville Municipality was incorporated in 1887 and, in 1988, Hurstville was declared a city. The Centenary Bakery on Forest Road is a historic building that has been preserved and once housed a museum. The St. George Regional Museum is now located in another historic building in McMahon Street. The Hurstville train crash on 3 August 1920 resulted in 5 people killed and 50 injured. It involved the collision of 2 steam trains, one arriving from Central Railway Station, which plunged into the back of the other, which was stationary at Hurstville Railway Station, bound for Sutherland. Commercial areas. Hurstville's commercial area is centered on the main street, Forest Road, on the northern side of Hurstville Railway Station. The commercial developments also extend to surrounding streets concentrated from Queen's Road to the Avenue and on the southern side of Hurstville Railway Station, around Ormond Parade. The commercial developments extend further along Forest Road, west towards Penshurst and east towards Bexley. Hurstville has 2 major shopping centres, Westfield Hurstville and Hurstville Central. Westfield Hurstville is the largest shopping centre in the St. George area. It is built over 3 blocks and stretches from Forest Road over Crofts Street, Park Road to the Avenue. Major stores in the centre includes Aldi, Coles, Woolworths, Kmart, Big W, Target, JB Hi-Fi, Rebel Sport and Event Cinemas. Westfield Hurstville has recently undergone redevelopment in 2015, following the closure of Mayor in early 2015. Hurstville Central is a small shopping centre on top of Hurstville Railway Station. The centre had undergone total refurbishment in 2008 and features 2,700 square metres Coles supermarket and around 38 specialty stores. It links Forest Road with Ormond Parade. The administrative offices of the City of Hurstville are located in the Hurstville Civic Centre in McMahon Street. This street also features a number of historic buildings such as the Friendly Pharmacy, Old Fire Station, Ritz Hotel and the St. George Regional Museum, which houses the cake decorating collection formerly held at the Australian Cakes and Sugar Art Museum. Hurstville City Library is located nearby on Queens Road. Arts and culture. The St. Clair Recording Studio operated for about a year from December 1965 to December 1966 and recorded the Bee Gees among other musicians. AC/DC played at the Hurstville Civic Center on 8 occasions between 1974 to 1977. A karaoke place opened in 2011 near the Meridian Hotel, the first ever one in Hurstville. Transport. Hurstville Railway Station is a major station on the Illawarra line of the Sydney Trains network. All suburban and all intercity trains stop at Hurstville. Hurstville is 20 minutes from Sydney Central Railway Station on the express service. Hurstville is a major bus interchange with bus services departing from Forest Road and Ormond Parade. Hurstville is also serviced by St. George Community Transport, AHACC-funded transport service for the frail-aged, people with disability and the carers. Churches. St. George Anglican Church, St. Michael's Catholic Church, Hurstville Presbyterian Church, Hurstville Church of Christ, Hurstville Uniting Church, Hurstville Seventh-day Adventist Church, Hurstville Assemblies of God, Salvation Army, Church of the Living God. Schools. Hurstville Adventist School, Hurstville Boys High School, Hurstville Public School, Dane Bank Anglican Girls School, Bethany College, Hurstville Grove Infants School, Beverly Hills Public School and St. George Christian School. Sydney Technical High School, Bethany College and St. Mary's Star of the Sea are located just over the border in Bexley. Landmarks. Hurstville Civic Center, Hurstville Entertainment Center, Hurstville City Library, St. George Regional Museum, Park Plaza Apartments. Parks, Kemptfield, Woodville Park, Hurstville Park, Thorpe Park, Doyle Gardens. Population. Demographics. The first European settlers in the area were mostly of British and Irish ancestry. For the late 1960s, Hurstville, like many surrounding areas, became home to migrants from all around the world. The first wave of migrants included Greeks and Italians who began moving south from Sydney's inner city suburbs. They were followed by more European migrants, including many from the former Yugoslavia, such as Bosnians and Macedonians. For the 1990s, the Chinese community within Hurstville has grown considerably. Much of this was related to significant migration from Hong Kong during the 1990s and migration from mainland China during the 2000s. Many local businesses are operated by people of Chinese background, the interests of which are advanced by the St. George Asian Business Association. Hurstville is a hub for Asian groceries, food and services. According to the 2011 Australian Bureau of Statistics census of population, there were 26,040 residents in Hurstville. 68.4% stated they were born overseas, with the top countries of birth being China, Hong Kong, and Nepal. English was stated as the only language spoken at home by 21.8% of residents, and the most common other languages spoken were Mandarin, Cantonese, Greek, and Arabic. The most common responses for religious affiliation were no religion, Catholic, Buddhism and Orthodox. The largest ancestry group was Chinese, reported by 47.5% of respondents, followed by English, Australian, and other or undeclared ancestry. Notable residents: Ronald Ernest Atchison, physicist; Ezekiel Baker, politician; Jack Brabham, three-time Formula One world champion motor racer; Ambrose George Entice, Knapp orchardist and politician; Stella Maria Sarah Miles Franklin, writer. Neville Hayes, swimmer. Thomas John Leigh, politician and murderer. Jack Lindwall, rugby league player for St George. Ray Lindwall, Australian Test cricketer, also played rugby league for St George, younger brother of Jack. Craig Nichols, musician. Eris Michael O'Brien, Catholic Archbishop and Australian historian. Gordon Stanley Reid, parliamentary official, political scientist and governor. Arthur Samuel Allen, Army officer and accountant, worked as an audit clerk in the NSW Government Railways, served in cadets and in the 39th Battalion of the Australian Military Forces, which was commissioned in September 1913. He then transferred to the 38th Battalion. He was then appointed to the Australian Imperial Force on 24 June 1915, and 2 months later in August he embarked for Egypt with reinforcements for the 13th Battalion. The following year in March Allen became a platoon commander and was promoted captain in the newly formed 45th Battalion. Sister cities.